كأنها رائحة جدي رسول الله فقلت نعم إن جدك تحت الكساء. فأقبل الحسن نحو الكساء وقال السلام عليك يا جده يا رسول الله أتأذن لي أن أدخل مع تحت الكساء؟ فقال وعليك السلام يا ولدي يا صاحب حوضي قد أذنت لك. فدخل معه تحت الكساء فما كانت إلا ساعة وإذا بولدي الحسين قد أقبل وقال السلام عليك يا أماه. فقلت عليك السلام يا ولدي ويا قرة عيني وثمرة فؤادي. فقال لأمه إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة جدي رسول الله صلى الله عليه. فقلت نعم إن جدك وأخاك تحت الكساء. فدني الحسين نحو الكساء وقال السلام عليك يا جداه السلام عليك يا من اختاره الله أتأذن لي أن أكون معكم ما تحت الكساء؟ فقال عليك السلام يا ولدي ويا شافع أمتي قد أذنت لك. فدخل معهما تحت الكساء فأقبل عند ذلك أبو الحسن علي بن أبي طالب فقال السلام عليك يا بنت رسول الله. فقلت وعليك السلام يا أبا الحسن ويا أمير المؤمنين. فقال يا فاطمة إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة أخي وابن عمي رسول الله. فقلت نعم ها هو مع ولديك تحت الكساء. فأقبل علي نحو الكساء وقال السلام عليك يا رسول الله أتأذن لي أن أكون معكم تحت الكساء؟ قال له عليك السلام يا أخي ويا وصي وخليفتي وصاحب ولي قد أذنت لك. فدخل علي تحت الكساء
اللهم صل على محمد وعلى
محمد. علي تحت الكساء ثم آتيت نحو الكساء وقلت السلام عليك يا أبتا يا معكم تحت الكساء. قال وعليك السلام يا بني ويا بدعتي قد أذنت لك. فدخلت تحت الكساء فلما اكتملنا جميعا تحت الكساء أخذ أبي رسول الله بطرف الكساء وأومد بيده اليمنى إلى السماء قال اللهم إن هؤلاء أهل بيتي وخاصتي وحمتي لحمهم لحمي ودمهم دمي يؤلمني ما يؤلمهم ويحزنني ما يحزنهم. إن حرب لمن حاربهم وسلم لمن سالمهم وعدو لمن أعداهم ومحب لمن أحبهم. إنهم مني وأنا منهم. فاجعل صلواتك وبركاتك ورحمتك وغفرانك ورضوانك على وعليهم وأذهب عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد. فقال الله عز وجل يا ملائكتي وسكان السماوات إني ما خلقت سماء مبنية ولا أرضا مدحية ولا قمرا منيرا ولا شمسا مضيئا ولا فلكا يدور ولا بحر يجري ولا فلكا يسري إلا في محبتي هؤلاء الخمسة الذين هم تحت الكساء. فقال أمين جبرائيل يا ربي ومن تحت الكساء؟ فقال عز وجل هم أهل بيتي نبوتي ومعدن الرسالة، هم فاطمة وأبوها وبعلها وبنوها. فقال
اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد.
خبر خبرئيل يا جبرائيل يا ربي أتأذن لي أن أحبط إلى الأرض لكون معهم سادس؟ فقال الله نعم قد أذنت لك. فهبط الأمين جبرائيل وقال السلام عليك يا رسول الله. رسول عليه رسول الأعلى يقرأك السماء يقرأك السلام ويخصك بالتحية والإكرام ويقولك وعزتي وجلالي إني ما خلقت سماء مبنية ولا أرضا مدحية ولا قمرا منيرا ولا شمسا مضيئة ولا فلك يدور ولا بحر يجري ولا فلك يسري إلا لأجلكم ومحبتكم. وقد أذن لي أن أدخل معكم، فهل تأذن لي يا رسول الله؟ فقال رسول الله عليك السلام يا أمين وحي الله إنه نعم قد أذنت لك. فدخل جبرائيل معنا تحت الكساء فقال لأبي إن الله قد أوحى إليكم يقول إنما يريد الله ليذهب عنكم الرجس أهل البيت ويطهركم تطهيرا.
اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد.
فقال علي لأبي يا رسول الله أخبرني ما لجلوسنا هذا تحت الكساء من الفضل عند الله. فقال نبي والذي بعثني بالحق نبيا واصطفاني بالرسالة نجيا ما ذكر خبرنا هذا في محفل من محافل أهل الأرض وفيه جميع من شيعتنا ومحبينا إلا ونزلت عليهم الرحمة وحافت بهم الملائكة واستغفرت لهم إلى أن يتفرقوا. فقال علي إذا والله فزنا وفاز شيعتنا ورب الكعبة.
اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد.
فقال نبي ثانيا يا علي والذي بعثني بالحق نبيا واصطفاني بالرسالة النجية ما ذكر خبرنا هذا في محفل من محافل أهل الأرض وفيه جميع من شيعتنا ومحبينا وفيهم مهموم إلا وفرج الله حما ولا مغموم إلا وكشف الله غما ولا طالب حاجة إلا وقضى الله حاجته. فقال علي إذا والله فزنا وسعدنا وكذلك شيعتنا فزوا سعدوا في الدنيا والآخرة ورب الكعبة.
اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد.
Yeah, Zaira, if you could start with the salam that you prepared, that would be good. If you could just unmute yourself and start. Good.
Salawat.
اللهم صل على محمد
وآل محمد. اے مومنوں جب مجلس شبیر میں آنا बच्चों का तुम्हें वास्ता ये भूल न जाना, ये सोच के जी खोल के तुम अश्क बहाना, मजलिस से जहाँ होंगी वहाँ आती है सकीना, पानी न मिला आज भी प्यासी है सकीना, प्यासी है सकीना, है प्यासी है सकीना। अल्लाह करे आए कभी ऐसा जमाना, हो शाम के जिंदा की तरफ आपका जाना, फट जाएगा दिल दे के वो गम का ठिकाना, बेहाल हुई कब्र में सोती है सकीना, पानी न मिला आज भी प्यासी है सकीना, प्यासी है सकीना, है प्यासी है सकीना। यूं जाने में दरिया गए अब्बास दिलावर, और दरिया से मशकी ज़भर बादले मुस्तर, दरिया की हर एक मौजी कहती थी तड़प कर, है तीसरा दिन हाय तड़पती है सकीना, पानी न मिला आज भी प्यासी है सकीना, प्यासी है सकीना, है प्यासी है सकीना। शाम आ गई जब छाने लगा बन में अंधेरा, ज़ैनब ने किया भाई के लाशे पे ये नौहा, क्या तुमने सकीना को कहीं देखा है भैया, ए कूज़ली दश्त में आई है सकीना, पानी न मिला आज भी प्यासी है सकीना, प्यासी है सकीना, है प्यासी है सकीना। सलवात।
अल्लाहुम्मा सल्ली अला मुहम्मद व आले मुहम्मद। कहाँ जाए आखिर बयाबान हर सू, शिकस्ता है पहलू अकेली है ज़हरा, कहाँ जाए आखिर बयाबान हर सू, शिकस्ता है पहलू अकेली है ज़हरा, रोने पे पहरा मसाइब का सेहरा, अकेली है ज़हरा, रोने पे पहरा मसाइब का सेहरा, अकेली है ज़हरा। در فاطمہ کو جلایا ہے تم نے، کیا وعدہ اپنا بھلایا ہے تم نے، در فاطمہ کو جلایا ہے تم نے، کیا وعدہ اپنا بھلایا ہے تم نے، تماچے نہ مارو مسلمان جاؤ، علی کو بلاؤ، اکیلی ہے زہرا، رونے پہ پہرا مصائب کا صحرا، اکیلی ہے زہرا، رونے پہ پہرا مصائب کا صحرا، اکیلی ہے زہرا، بیاں کس سے جا کر کروں درد اپنا، ہے غیروں کی دنیا نہیں کوئی اپنا، بیاں کس سے جا کر کروں درد اپنا، ہے غیروں کی دنیا نہیں کوئی اپنا، کوئی جا کے بابا سے کہہ دو یہ جا کر کہ لے جاؤ آ کر، اکیلی ہے زہرا، رونے پہ پہرا مصائب کا صحرا، اکیلی ہے زہرا، رونے پہ پہرا مصائب کا صحرا، اکیلی ہے زہرا، اے لخت جگر حسن ابن حیدر، یہ نانا کے پہلو میں سونے نہ دیں گر، اے لخت جگر حسن ابن حیدر، یہ نانا کے پہلو میں سونے نہ دیں گر، تم آ جانا پہلو میں سو جانا ماں کے بقی میں، یہاں پر اکیلی ہے زہرا، رونے پہ پہرا مصائب کا صحرا، اکیلی ہے زہرا، رونے پہ پہرا مصائب کا صحرا، اکیلی ہے زہرا، شہ کربلا نے کہا رو کے ماں سے، یہ مظلوم بیٹے نے مظلوم ماں سے، شہ کربلا نے کہا رو کے ماں سے، یہ مظلوم بیٹے نے مظلوم ماں سے، اکیلا ہوں میں بھی اکیلی ہے زہرا، اکیلا ہوں میں بھی اکیلی ہے زینب، اکیلے ہیں بابا اکیلی ہے زہرا، رونے پہ پہرا مصائب کا صحرا، اکیلی ہے زہرا، رونے پہ پہرا مصائب کا صحرا، اکیلی ہے زہرا، سرے مرگ اختر تا زہرا کا نوحہ، कब आओगे मेहदी, कब आओगे बेटा, खुदा के लिए अब ये पर्दा हटा दो, चले आओ आओ, अकेली है ज़हरा, रोने पे पहरा, मसाइब का सेहरा, अकेली है ज़हरा, अकेली है ज़हरा। अल्लाहुम्मा सल्ली अला मुहम्मद व आले मुहम्मद वअज्जल।
Assalamu alaikum. So today we're going to be starting with Masuma Jaffer. Assalamu alaikum, Masuma Jaffer. If you could start the lecture now. We are all online. So.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وبه نستعين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا ونبينا بالقاسم محمد اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد
وآل محمد وأجل
وعلى إطرة الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين أما بعد فقد قال الله في كتاب المجيد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم ويسألونك عن الروح قل الروح من أمر ربي وما أوتيتم من العلم إلا قليلا صدق الله العلي العظيم.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. I just want to spend a few minutes talking about death, because I feel like it's something that most of us are very frightened about. And there's two main reasons why most of us are scared about death. One is because we know what we've done in our lives and we're worried about the accountability upon death and how we were going to answer to God for everything that we've done. The simple answer to that is that the doors of Tawbah are open. In Dua Tawbah, Imam Sajjad alayhi salam talks about the fact that Allah has kept the doors of Tawbah open. So really all we have to do is just ask for forgiveness and right the wrong that we've done. And we don't even we don't even have to try to open the door of Tawbah. We don't have, we don't need a key. We don't need any magic formula. We just literally need to just ask for his forgiveness. So if that is the reason we're scared, it's very easy to, correct that. The other reason most people are scared of death is because we don't know what's going to happen. There's no one who's come back to tell us what it was like. And even when God explains it to us, it's very difficult to understand it because he uses language and concepts that we've experienced in the physical world. And obviously what's going to be happening to us is in the spiritual realm. So it's a little bit confusing in how it will take part and what will happen. But no doubt there are lots of hadiths and Quranic verses that talk about what's going to happen after death. And it's important for us to know, because even though we won't understand it fully, we can understand it to a certain level. So there's lots of material out there. I mean, for example, the book that Sheikh Muhammad Boo's written, Towards Eternal Truth or Towards the Eternal Journey or something like that, where he's gone into everything that happens from the moment of death to the day of judgment. But even then there is still confusion, and we're very scared because we don't understand it fully. And the problem is we understand things from our experiences, and all our experiences are obviously in the physical realm. Whereas what happens in death, as I said, is, in the spiritual realm, we've moved from the physical world into another realm, into the spiritual realm. Simple example, we spent all our lives looking after our bodies. We try to eat the right things, we try to exercise, drink the right amount of water, and get enough sleep. And we spent so long taking care of our bodies. It's the first thing that people notice about us. And this is one of the reasons why one of the benefits of wearing hijab is that we're not taken for just what we look like, but what's inside us, you know, what we say, what our minds are like, what our souls like, and things like that. But our bodies mean a lot to us, and we're very aware of our bodies, and we've looked after them so well. And we know that after death, our bodies decay and rot away. And that's very uncomfortable for us. So, and it also feels like that's the end of me then. So death actually seems like it's the end. And it seems very negative, with our bodies decaying away and rotting and so forth. But if we realize that that we're not actually our bodies, our bodies are just a vehicle for us to travel in this world, and who we truly are is our soul, which is inside the body. And as soon as our body has served its purpose in this world and we move into barzakh, we will be given another body, and this body will not be as limited as the body that we have in this world. This body will not be limited by space or time. It's going to be a much lighter body. It will move much quicker. In fact, it'll move so fast that we actually will find it difficult to control it. And the angels will come and teach us how to use this new body of ours. And it's like having superpowers. And it's actually quite exciting. And the body that we will be given will be decided dependent on our actions in this world. So the better our actions, the more superpowers, in inverted commas, our bodies will have in the next world, and again in the day of judgment. So it's actually something we should be looking forward to if we've lived the way we're meant to in this world. It's like a fetus which is growing in the womb of the mother. Once it grows to a certain level, it needs to come out of the womb. If it stays in the womb, it will die. It's outgrown the womb and it needs to continue to grow. It needs to come out of the womb of the mother. And it's the same for the soul. The soul is in this world in order for it to grow. And once it's outgrown this world, it has to move on to the next part of its journey, which is in barzakh. So it literally means when someone passes away, when someone dies, it literally means that now this world is not enough for them. This world has served its purpose and they've moved on to the next stage of their journey. And it's not the end, but the beginning of an amazing journey towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And you know, at each stage we're getting closer and closer to our creator who loves us 70 times more than our mothers. So why would we not want to move along on this journey? And obviously, the people that are left behind will miss the person who's gone, but it's like when our children go to university or get married and move away, we will miss them, but we're happy for them and knowing that they're flourishing in their new life. And it's the same sort of principle. If I know that this person is moved on to and is flourishing and is moving towards their creator, and I know that there'll come a time when I will actually meet this person, this beloved one, why would I not want them to go? And yes, I will miss them, of course I will, but it's something to look forward to. And I think if we have that sort of mindset, it's something that we can all work towards. So this world is actually for the soul to grow. It's like the womb for the soul. And when the soul reaches its potential or perfection, once it's outgrown this world, then it moves on to the next world, into barzakh. It needs to come out of this world because it can't grow any further in this world. And if we don't reach our potential, then what Allah does, again, out of his love and mercy, is he takes us when we've reached the closest we're going to reach our potential before we start going downhill. So again, out of his love and mercy, he takes us at the best time that is for us to move on. Excuse me. The problem is we're spiritual beings living in a physical world. It's like the fetus, when it's in the womb of the mother, lives in fluid. But when it comes into this world, which is where it's going to spend its life, it's on dry land. And the same with our soul. We're spiritual beings, but for us to grow, we have to live in the physical realm. And once we've grown in the physical realm, then we can move on and move into the spiritual realm. And God, out of his love and mercy, knew that when would be living in the physical realm, we would concentrate on our physical bodies and not who we truly are, our souls. And so he gave us the fiqh rulings, he gave us the Sharia. And the purpose behind the Sharia, the purpose behind the rulings is for our souls. Yes, of course, the rules actually have an effect on our, have a benefit on our bodies, but the actual purpose behind each ruling is for the soul. So when Allah makes something wajib for us, we know for a fact that it is something that the soul absolutely requires. And when he makes something haram for us, we know for a fact that it is something that is absolutely detrimental to the soul. But the problem is, when we look at wajib and haram, we try to understand it from our physical understanding, from our physical experiences. So for example, when we look at fasting, you know, when we're asked, why do you fast? We say, so that we can empathize with the poor. So we know what it feels like, you know, when people are poor and they don't have enough food, and it makes us understand what it feels like. If that was the reason behind the fasting, then those who are poor, who already know what it feels like, wouldn't have to fast. But yet they do. We say it's in order to detox our bodies, to make us healthier. Again, if that was the purpose behind the fasting, if I already had a really healthy body, then I wouldn't have to fast. We say it's in order to increase our willpower. Again, if that was the purpose behind the fast, then if I had a strong willpower, I wouldn't have to fast. But yet we know it's wajib for everyone to fast, unless obviously you're ill and you can't. So this shows that the purpose behind the fast is not any of these things. These are all benefits for the fast. But the purpose behind the fast is what Allah tells us in the Holy Quran, where he says, لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ. So that if you do it properly, inshallah, hopefully, we would get taqwa from the fast. Now, taqwa is an recognition of Allah. Taqwa is where we are aware of Allah. We have a marifah of Allah so that we actually understand Him and we're aware of Him in all aspects of our life. And obviously that cannot happen with the physical being, but with the spiritual being. When my soul is connected to Allah, then I have taqwa. So it shows that the purpose behind the fast is a spiritual thing, which is our connection to Allah, rather than a physical thing, which are not purpose but benefits. Another example is hijab. A lot of the times we're asked, okay, why do we wear hijab? And we say, well, it's so that men don't look at us a certain way. It's so that we're listened to. It's so that I'm considered more than just what I look like on the outside. It's so that I'm respected. It's so that I'm known as a Muslim. And yes, all of these things are benefits of hijab, but the true purpose behind the hijab is for the soul. Now the question arises, how can the physical covering of a physical body affect my spiritual being inside? How does that make sense? If we look at wuzu, so for example, if you imagine I've just gone for a shower and I've had a really, really long shower and I've used all the Bath and Body Works stuff I have and I smell really good and I'm really clean, and I come out of the shower, before I go to pray, I still need to do wuzu. So the wuzu is not for cleanliness because I'm already clean. The wuzu has an effect on me, which allows my soul then to connect to Allah in the salah. The physical water on the physical body affects my spiritual being inside my physical body. In the same way, the physical covering of my physical body affects my spiritual being inside my physical body. How? We really don't know. And this is because, if I refer you back to the verse that I recited at the beginning of my talk in Surah 17, verse 85, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, wa yas'alunaka anir ruh. And they ask you about the soul. قُلِ الرُّوحُ مِنْ أَمْرِ رَبِّي وَمَا أُوتِيتُم مِنَ الْعِلْمِ إِلَّا قَلِيلًا. Say, the soul is one of the commands of my Lord, and you are not given but a little knowledge of it. So we're actually told that when the Prophet was asked, they ask you about the ruh. What is the ruh? The ruh is the soul that we are. And Allah says, tell them that it's one of the commands of Allah. It's one of the amr of Allah, of the Rabb. But we're not given much knowledge about it. We're only given a little bit of knowledge. Now, that's not because God wants to keep anything away from us. It's not because he doesn't want to tell us. It's because we don't have the ability to understand truly what the ruh is. Because our understanding is from our experiences in the physical realm. And the ruh is a totally spiritual thing. So we're not able to understand it. So even if Allah explained it to us, we wouldn't be able to understand it. And that's why we're only given a little knowledge. But we're told that that is who we are. And that is what allows us to connect to Allah. And that is also what makes us special. That is what makes us the Khalifa of Allah on the earth. That is what was breathed into Prophet Adam, and after which Iblis, all the angels were told to do sajda to Prophet Adam, where Iblis refused. So, when Prophet Adam was created, he was created and left there, and the angels were never told to do sajda to him until Allah breathed the ruh into him. And again, we have no idea what this breathing of Allah, of himself, of his ruh into us means, but it is something that connects us to Allah, and it's something that gives us that status of being higher than the angels, that the angels were given the command to do sajda to Prophet Adam. So it's important that we understand that we are the ruh, we are the soul, and that is what we need to take care of. And the only way we can take care of it is by listening to the Creator who created us, who tells us how to take care of it, by following the wajib and staying away from the muharramat. And sometimes these rulings don't make sense, but we know that the Creator knows what is best for us. In the same way, we have hadith telling us to do specific things at the time of death and during burial, which we may not understand fully, but we're told if we do these things, then it benefits the person who has passed away. And it makes no sense, but we still do it. And we're very particular about doing those things. So, for example, when we're told to place 2 fresh branches from a tree on the side of the body, and the hadith of the 6th Imam, Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad, where he says, while these branches stay fresh and green, the azab of the qabr will be delayed. We're told that every time you go to the graveyard, you should water the grave. Again, why? What is the point of watering the grave? We don't understand why we need to do this, but we do this because we're told that the azab of the grave is taken away as long as the grave remains damp. And there is blessing that comes to the person who is buried in that grave from watering the grave. We don't understand how it works, but we do it because we're told to do it. Yet when it comes to when we're alive and we're told to do certain things, we have the audacity to tell Allah, but that doesn't make sense. I don't see why I should do it this way, or I don't want to do it this way, or I don't think this works in my life. So it's important for us to recognize that when Allah tells us something, it may not make sense to us, but there is a reason behind it, and the reason is for the soul. When it comes to our deceased, we're also told that we should send gifts for our deceased. So we're told by the Holy Prophet to send gifts to our deceased. For example, to give sadaqah for them, to do kindness to the needy and the orphans, to seek forgiveness for them, to recite the Quran. And any part of the Quran sends blessings to them. They get blessings and Sawab for it. But there are specific surahs that we've been told to recite. So, for example, we're told to recite Surah Qadr 7 times. And we have a hadith from Imam Ali Raza alayhi salam where he says that any servant of Allah, when visiting the grave of a believer, recites Inna anzalnahu fi laylatul qadr 7 times, Allah will forgive him and the inhabitants of the grave. We're told to recite Surah Ikhlas 11 times. The Holy Prophet ﷺ says that one who passes by a cemetery of Muslims and recites Qul Huwallahu Ahad 11 times and gifts its rewards to the deceased, he, the reciter, is granted a reward equal to the number of dead people who are buried in that cemetery. We're told to recite Surah Yasin. Again, the Holy Prophet ﷺ says, one who recites Surah Yasin in a cemetery, Allah will lighten the punishment on them, the people who are buried in that cemetery, on that day, and reward the reciter with good deeds equal to the number of dead people in that who are buried in the cemetery. It is also recommended, mustahab, to visit the graves of for Muslims, for Muslim men and women. The hadith, a lot of women ask that, we're told that we shouldn't go to the graveyard. Again, within the Shia faith, that is not correct. We're recommended to go to the graveyard, even when we are in our monthly cycle, when we're in our periods. There is no hadith that says it is makruh to go to the grave. The only time it is makruh is when the person is at the point of dying. It is makruh to be around that person at that time, but to be around the person after they have passed away, to visit the graveyard, none of that is makruh within there's no authentic hadith that talks about that. So it's actually important that we should visit the graves, and this causes happiness to the mahrum that are buried there, and they're actually aware of our visitation as well. So it's important to remember that once they've left the physical world, it's not that they're not aware of what's happening to their family. They actually are. And the proof of that is when we turn to the events of Karbala, where we actually see how Imam alayhi salam, when he makes his decision to leave Medina, he goes to the grave of his brother Imam Hassan alayhi salam with a very heavy heart. And there Imam Hussein alayhi salam stays for a while at the grave of his brother, and he says, "Oh brother, now the enemy is after my blood. It looks like time for my martyrdom is near, and I'm leaving you now." I imagine that Imam Hassan alayhi salam would have replied from his grave, "Oh my brother, if I had been there, I would have fought by your side. But alas, I bid you farewell and give you my son Qasim to become your sadqa in Karbala." After that, Imam Hussein alayhi salam goes to the Prophet's mosque, to the grave of his grandfather, the Holy Prophet, to bid his final farewell. He stays there for a long time and he weeps. His eyes close and he sees the Prophet in his dream. And he says to the Prophet, "Oh, my grandfather, my salutations to you. The land of Medina has become small for me. Tyrants among the Ummah, amongst your Ummah, are after my blood. And I'm leaving Medina with a heavy heart." Imagine that from the grave, the voice of the prophets saying, "Hussein, I see you now. Your body is smeared in blood and grief and trials surround you. My followers, my Ummah, have cut off your head. It is bad enough when your enemy carries out these atrocious acts on your beloved. But imagine when it's your Ummah, the ones that you guided." The Prophet continues, "You are thirsty, but they denied you water. And they still dare to ask for my intercession. May God keep my intercession from them. Hussein, your father, your mother,
and your brother are with me, and we're waiting for you. Your places in Jannah is ready for you, but it is so great that you must be martyred to achieve it. Imam alayhi salam glances at the mihrab and the pulpit of his grandfather. He recalls the care and love his grandfather had showered upon him in his childhood. He thought of the number of times the Prophet had told the people, Hussein is from me and I am from Hussein. May Allah love all those who love Hussein. Hussein is a grandson of mine. How could the people have forgotten this so quickly? Finally, Imam Hussein alayhi salam comes to the grave of his mother, Bibi Fatima Zahra alayhi salam. Historians write that Imam alayhi salam ran towards her grave just like a child runs towards his mother. And he fell on her grave just like a child falls into the lap of the mother. Imam alayhi salam says, "Oh, my mother, accept my last salam. I'm leaving the land of Medina and will not come back. The prophecy of my grandfather is about to come true." I imagine that Bibi Zahra alayhi salam would have said from her grave, "Oh, my beloved son, oh, the one whom I have raised by keeping awake in the night, I would not let you go alone. From this day, I will not rest in my grave, but I will accompany you throughout this treacherous journey." Historians write throughout the journey, various women reported to Imam alayhi salam that when everyone had gone to sleep in the night, we hear feminine voices of weeping and a baby's voice crying, "Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein." Imam alayhi salam told them, "This is my mother Zahra, who is with me ever since I have left Medina." Ya Allah, we ask for you to accept this small gift for our Marumeen from us. Ya Allah, make their graves into the graves of Jannah and let them move closer to the Ahlul Bayt. And let us learn from what you have given us and the examples you have set us, and let us actually grow closer to you in this world, so that when we come back to you, our souls have reached their potential and their perfection, inshallah. I can ask you to recite a salawat and Surah Fatiha for the Maruma and all our Marumeens. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein,
Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein.
गुर्बत की इंतहा है, नासाया नारदा है, ज़हरा तेरी लहद पर। गुर्बत की इंतहा है, नासाया नारदा है, ज़हरा तेरी लहद पर। चंद पत्थरों ने मिलकर महरूम लिख दिया है, ज़हरा तेरी लहद पर। गुर्बत की इंतहा है, नासाया नारदा है, ज़हरा तेरी लहद पर। तीरों भरी क़बा थी और खून भरी रिदा थी, तीरों भरी क़बा थी और खून भरी रिदा थी। जो शाम से बचा था ज़ैनब ने रख दिया है, ज़हरा तेरी लहद पर। गुर्बत की इंतहा है, नासाया नारदा है, ज़हरा تیری لحد پر غربت کی انتہا ہے، نہ سایہ نہ ردا ہے زہرا تیری لحد پر. دوپہر ڈھل رہے ہیں، خیام جل رہے ہیں. دوپہر ڈھل رہے ہیں، خیام جل رہے ہیں. تصویر کربلا کی کوئی بنا رہا ہے، زہرا تیری لحد پر غربت کی انتہا ہے، نہ سایہ نہ ردا ہے زہرا تیری لحد پر. غربت کی انتہا ہے، نہ سایہ نہ ردا ہے زہرا تیری لحد پر. یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین. صلوات اللہم صلی علی محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجہ. زیارت امام زمانہ.
بسم اللہ الرحمن الرحیم. السلام علیکم یا صاحب الزمان، السلام علیکم یا خلیفۃ الرحمن، السلام علیکم یا شریک القرآن، السلام علیکم یا مولانا صاحب العصر والزمان، السلام علیکم ورحمۃ اللہ وبرکاتہ. السلام علیکم یا صاحب العصر والزمان، الأمان من فتنة الزمان. السلام عليك يا خليفة الرحمن، السلام عليك يا إمام الإنس والجان، السلام عليك يا مظهر الإيمان، السلام عليك يا شريك القرآن، السلام عليك يا فاطع البرهان، السلام عليك يا إمام الزمان، يا هذا عجل الله فرجك وسهل الله مخرجك وظهورك. السلام عليك يا رحمة الله وبركاته. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
اللهم كن لوليك حجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا، حتى تسكنه أرزك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين.
Please recite a Surah Fatiha for my grandmother Akhtar Sultana bint Syed Raza Ali Naqvi. I just want to say a huge thank you to Masuma Jafar auntie for reciting this majlis today. It was very beautiful, and everyone who could attend. And those of you who can't attend, there's going to be a recording online on Hosseini's YouTube channel. So yes, thank you so much again, and Fi Aman Allah.